An absolutely terrifying non-stoppage occurred in mixed martial arts, this time out of Brazil's under the Campanema Fight Combat banner between Silmar, Sombra, Nunes, and I apologize for the butchering of this, the Paturi, Robson Silva. So Silva versus Nunes in this case. We have video of the fight. It's about 44 seconds long. It comes in, and this is important, courtesy of a few places. Jackson Wink MMA, I know, posted this, the very famous Jackson Wink MMA. I believe also one of the places was Pacadenta, which is, I believe, another place that uses MMA footage. And of course, Mike Bond over at MMA Junkie was one who found it. So 3 sources for this, all credited. I wanted to make sure to get that out. Here is a piece of the video. You can watch the full one at Jackson Wink MMA. Rick, would you like to explain as to what happened, why the ref should have stopped the fight, and besides the obvious reasoning that he was unconscious?
Sure. So we've seen this many times. I did a story, how long ago? Like a week ago, maybe?
Week and a half, 2 weeks.
Week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when Rick Glenn defeated Gavin Tucker, UFC Fight Night. The referee's name, which I was looking up, I remember his last name is Cardinal, his first name is Kyle. It was Kyle Cardinal, who allowed Gavin Tucker to take a beating that we've seen a lot of fighters simply not bounce back from because they think their mind can continue, but their body just can't because of the damage that they suffered in that respective fight. What we saw here was a fighter in a headlock go numb. Numb. And the referee, who clearly is not a trained referee, maybe he is and he had a bad night. Some of us have a bad day at the office, except lives aren't in our hands. Sorry for hitting the mic. Lives aren't in our hands when we're at our own respective offices. So this is a little bit different. So the referee goes over and he lifts up one body part of the guy that lost. It was limp. And yet he was just like, let's just see what happens. He's got some fight in him. So luckily, and I'm blanking on the name of the guy that lost, but his trainer jumped over the cage.
Robson Silva.
Thank you. Jumped over the cage, shoved the referee. I understand his rage because when you go to war with somebody and you train with somebody, I don't even like saying when you go to war, but when you train with somebody over and over and over again for a respective amount of time, you develop this kinship and a brotherhood that really is unmatched. So what he was doing was sticking up for someone that clearly he loves, he appreciates, and he views as one of his own. And the anger was taken out. What should have been taken out on the referee was taken out on the opposing fighter, because really, when you're in that position as a fighter, you continue until you hear the bell ring, until a referee step in, what have you. It's sort of like in football, you play until you hear the whistle. Yeah, that's exactly how it is. So you can't really blame the opposing fighter for stopping. Because even similarly, going back to Rick Glenn defeating Gavin Tucker, Rick Glenn even said, like, dude, stop the fight. But what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to stop competing? No. So this referee should never be involved in mixed martial arts ever again. I applaud the trainer for breaking protocol, jumping over the cage, saving a fighter's life, and just stopping the fight overall, because this is complete nonsense that this continued the duration that it did. We didn't even show you the 20 to 40 seconds of fluff,
so that's what,
by the way.
I wasn't sure if we were gonna be able to show everything. What we did show, what I skipped was about the 15 seconds where he's in the chokehold. So you do, it only seems like in the video, unfairly a little bit out of context, but the more important point,
it went on for a while,
was to show the trainer jumping over. You can see his hand slamming against the cage, telling him to stop the fight. He's limp.
The trainer, that is.
The trainer, he noticed that when he picked up his hand, it dropped. That is limp. You are unconscious. There is no body to mind. There's no spirit there. You are pretty much on the verge of dying. in this case. So it's a terrible non-stoppage and it's very scary. Nunes said, who was the technical winner of the fight, said on Instagram, I believe yesterday or 2 days ago, if you don't tap, you'll go to sleep. Another win, thank God. I was assaulted at the end of the fight, but everything went okay. We have yet to hear from, and there's the English translation, according to Mike Bond from MMA Junkie.
And I agree
but that's the
with
point.
Nunes.
To the whistle.
Yes, you have to keep going.
But at some point you would think, like, what are you supposed to do if you feel like I mean, you have no idea. The adrenaline's there. You have no idea if he's unconscious. But if you did have the sense, right? Let's say you're in his position and you actually knew, you saw it, you look and you see his hand goes limp. Do you let go? Or do you just
it's tough to say because I'm not in that position.
Of course not. I hope you're never in that position.
Me too. It's
unless
tough to say
unless you're headlocking Steve-O.
Of course. Pass.
There was actually a video recently that came out of a MMA fighter who had another fighter in some sort of lock. I believe it was like an air restrictive lock, and he looked at the ref and said, "He's out." The ref said, "No, he's like." You hear the exchange on the microphones. He's out. No, he's not. Yes, he is. And then he
called the fight. Yeah,
let's go. He wouldn't stay on top of him, which I think is
noble,
wonderful of that fighter. But I think that was like above and beyond what a fighter's to do. I think that is 100% on the referee.
Oh, of course, agreed.
Look,
agreed.
I will reiterate this one more time. This referee should never handle a mixed martial arts event ever again. And I understand you mentioned the sanctioning body previously. It's tough to get referees who are not only lesser known, obviously, but are willing to do it for not a lot of money. I understand that. But you know what matters more instead of getting something qualified? The livelihood of the fighters to continue to not only compete, but live. And I'll end it at that.